I
Nico. Hello. What's up? How have you been?
have big news.
What is it?
Uh, I'm gonna go abroad because I got a job there.
Oh, congrats, congrats. How are you
Thank you.
feeling?
Actually, that's why I called you. I'm feeling a bit nervous because
Oh, why?
it's my first time working with like people from other countries,
Mm,
and I don't really know what to expect.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I know you have experience on that, and you probably know a lot of people also who have
Mm-hmm.
experience. So I wanted to ask if do you know anyone I can potentially reach out to
Oh,
ask for help,
yeah.
advice?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I already have a couple of people in mind that I can refer to you, and I'll let you know what they've worked on already, and they can help you with whatever you need in terms of like working with other people in like global cultures and projects.
Great, thanks.
Okay, so I personally worked on a project for Moe's Burger, which is a Japanese fast food chain, and their problem was to determine which country to expand into. And my team and I decided to do a New Zealand expansion. So I worked with members like Buck and Ivy from the US and Sergio from Colombia. So, to give you a little bit more context on how I did when I was working on the Moe's project, here's a message from Ivy on her experience working with me.
Hello, I'm Ivy Wren, and I worked on the X Culture project for Group 406 with Margaret. And for working with her has been wonderful. She stayed on task, did all her work, did so much that I felt like didn't do enough. She coordinates the group as our informal leader, at least personally to me, and everything else. I have. This is the first time in my college experience that I've had no complaints for a group member.
So I also have a few friends who you can reach out to who also worked on the Moe's Burger expansion project. So that's Santi and Nico. So they also had different global teams. So Santi's team decided to expand into the US burger market, and he worked with people like Haley and Ryan from the US and Jewel from Netherlands. And Nico's team decided to expand into the Italian and UK fast food industry. And I think his members were Elisha and Summit from the US, Camila from Italy, and Mavis from Ghana. So the next person you could talk to is Alexa, who worked on YKK USA expansion project, but her team determined to do a product line expansion using sustainable construction materials. So her teammates were Marla, who was from Mongolia and Italy, and Zaid from the US. And the last reco I have is Gabby, who worked on Master Media, which is a Polish food export company. And again, the problem was country expansion, and they decided to expand into Saudi Arabia and the US. So Gabby worked with Maya, who's from Israel and USA, Monique from USA, Kwaku from Ghana, and Valeria from Italy. So all of these recommendations, they would totally help you out and give you solid advice, and they have a lot of experience with different types of people globally. But Nico, I think it might make you feel better if you actually spoke or heard from someone who has worked with one of my referrals, just so you know that they're actually credible and can give you solid advice. So I can transfer you to a call with Ryan Burlon from the US, who actually already worked with Santi, and he can tell you about their experience together.
Hello, my name is Ryan Ballone. I'm from the United States and I worked in Team 280 for the X Culture Project, where we came up with a business plan for Mossberger. And I just wanted to share my experience on the project. So, me and my team, we faced many difficulties. The biggest one was definitely the time zone differences. Because of it, we never really got a chance to meet face to face. We just had to rely on WhatsApp to communicate, which even then was hard because communication was so delayed. So you would put a message in the chat and you really wouldn't get a response a couple hours later because we were all, living our own lives in different times, and it made it really hard. One thing that really did surprise me though was how well we were able to work together despite the time differences. It seemed like everyone was a leader in their own way, and we all came together and put together a pretty good report, in my opinion. One thing that I really learned from this is that if you have a group of people who are really determined to do something, then despite the challenges that you're facing, it's really not too difficult to get what you need to get done. Thank you. Bye bye.
I'll also be sharing with you some images and screenshots from Nico's own team about their experience working together. And as you can see, that they really enjoyed and had a great time and had good communication. So I hope this helps. Good luck.
So, Santi, you worked with people from abroad for some time, right?
Yeah, I did, and it was a really enriching experience.
What makes you say that?
Yeah, so it's a great way to see how other people and cultures conduct business. The things they look at, what they find important for a business to thrive, and also their perspective on different environments. Coming from markets like ours, which is emerging, and dealing with people from developed markets, there's a real difference in things that you consider from a business landscape perspective.
Also, I'm sure there are really biases, right? And I'm sure differences in communicating as well.
Yeah, 100%. You really have to be mindful, like, how us Filipinos are so keen on respect, but the Dutch are so direct. So, especially online, it can really be misconstrued if you're not careful.
How is it working as an international team?
It was honestly really cool. On our project, we got to leverage the team's diverse skill set. We got to lift practices from businesses that we see in our home countries. And because of the time difference, it really forced us to be efficient with how, we worked since it was tough to find common times to meet. So it had to be worth it.
So, what would you say is the best takeaway from it?
Hmm. So maybe two things. The first is the network that you really get to leverage going forward. And then, the second is seeing the best international practices so you can take those home to the Philippines and actually apply it here.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Santi. Well, I've heard a lot of good experiences, but I'm sure there's a lot of downsides to this too. Maybe I should ask Alexa on what she has to say.
Hey Nico, yeah, I did. I experienced a bit and even heard a bit about the bad experiences of working with other people from other countries. So the first difficulty that I experienced was definitely unresponsive group mates. In our X culture group, we experienced people leaving the project or some even completely just neglecting it towards the end of the project, which made it quite difficult to complete the work. Other than this, we had really different working styles, as others were not so willing to give us much time to the project, making it difficult to really produce the quality works that we expected at the start of the project. At some point, some people were heavily using AI, and it felt as if it wasn't used in the correct way, which was why us other group mates had to compromise and try to really uh, cover for the parts that were not being produced of good quality. Because we were working with an international team, we definitely experienced cultural differences and a bit of language barriers also, which made it easy to take what our groupmates were saying the wrong way. It was difficult to understand the tone of their message, especially given that we were speaking primarily through chat only, and it was easy to feel as if we were being gaslighted by other groupmates with the way that their message was being said. Other than this, we also experienced a lack of leadership. Generally, only two of us in the group were doing our best to lead the team and coordinate everything, but of course, given our other commitments and limited bandwidth, leadership continued to lack as the project progressed.
Wow, medyo bad experiences nga yun.
Oo nga eh, medyo bad experiences nga, but it's okay. I think the good will still outweigh the bad. Anyway, I have to go. So, good luck, Nico.
Nico, I want to be prepared. What cultural challenges can I expect to encounter? Firstly, communication barriers can hinder effective collaboration. Variances in language proficiency and communication styles may lead to misunderstandings or misinterpretations, impacting the overall workflow and productivity. Additionally, different time zones can make scheduling meetings and coordinating tasks difficult. Team members may have conflicting availabilities, resulting in delays in decision making and project progress. Cultural differences also play a significant role, influencing work habits, attitudes towards authority, and approaches to problem solving. These variations can lead to friction within the team and require sensitivity and adaptability to navigate successfully. What about outside cultural aspects? Moreover, disparities in technological infrastructure and internet connectivity may impede seamless communication and access to resources, further complicating collaboration efforts. Lastly, individual commitments and priorities outside of the project can vary widely, affecting each member's level of dedication and availability for collaborative work. Despite these challenges, my advice is that effective communication, cultural sensitivity, and the willingness to accommodate differences can help mitigate obstacles and foster successful international collaborations. Although people shared how great meeting and working with people outside of the country is, there are also a lot of challenges. Is there any way that I can get the most out of my experiences by minimizing the issues that might come along?
Oh, yeah, I totally get the concern. And it's normal to be apprehensive about working with people that you're unfamiliar with or cultures that are different. But take it from me, there are ways to maximize your experiences through crossing these barriers and being understanding of the diversity of your team. Like in my X Culture team, there were many challenges like time zones, language barriers, and work ethic. And it's important to recognize and be conscious of these differences in order to better connect and work with other people. So many of us had to really observe these weak points and make an effort to mitigate them, like rephrasing things simply, translating when needed, and double checking comprehension. Like we recognize that these different cultures may have different communication norms, so we also avoided taking things too personally if someone's tone seemed frank or even aggressive over text. So instead of getting defensive, we focused on the shared goal of the group project and were patient with everyone about anything confusing. We made time early on to learn about each other's backgrounds and commitments, and this meant expectation setting when workloads would get heavy and the group would rotate with who had to sacrifice that week and stay up for a meeting. Compromise and open mindedness are essential when trying to communicate and cross cultural barriers. So, if you want my advice, if you encounter different cultures in a group, be proactive about finding ways to bridge the gap respectfully. Ask questions to try and understand different perspectives and make space for people to raise clarifications without judgment. Pay attention to potential language barriers and offer to rephrase or translate, and be conscious that directness, humor styles, and conversational pacing can all be cultural. And above all, approach it with flexibility, emotional intelligence, and a willingness to adapt your style a bit to accommodate others. Make an effort to learn about cultural norms different from your own, and it's amazing what you can achieve with open minds and open hearts. Those diversities and perspectives ultimately enriched our X culture experience. And you'll do great, don't worry about it. Good luck with your preparations.